Hey everybody, this is Sean McCleary from Naples, Florida, and I wanted to present a video on my work in evolutionary cosmology. I apologize I can't be at the conference in person. I'm sure it's a very fun and exciting time for everyone. I'm an author, a writer, and I've been doing work on evolutionary cosmology now for about 8 years or so. My work started when I heard about the paradigm shift. It's also called the shift in consciousness, and it's about the evolutionary activity that the universe is going through and how that's going to affect planet Earth. I'm going to start out with my introduction. Recently I formulated some pretty powerful conclusions on how the universe was introduced. And before the universe was here 13.8 billion years ago, there was nothing but infinite consciousness. I like to use the term infinite consciousness because infinity was introduced into the universe. The universe and everything that's contained within the universe is a concept. Stars, black holes, galaxies, nebulas, planet Earth, planets, life form, everything that is contained within the universe are concepts, therefore had to be conceptualized. So the universe was actually created out of intelligent design. So infinite consciousness was everywhere, and what was incorporated in infinite consciousness was pure light energy and pure dark energy. And what I mean by pure light energy or dark energy is there was no subatomic activity available at that particular time. And pure light energy comes from consciousness and higher frequency vibrations. Pure dark energy comes from consciousness and lower frequency vibrations. This is actually where the light and the dark generate from for our universe. Infinite consciousness made a decision based on evolutionary development, and this was before the universe was introduced, and infinite consciousness decided to combine the higher frequency vibrations and the lower frequency vibrations with evolutionary activity. And as soon as these frequency vibrations were combined, what happened was that the Higgs boson was introduced into existence, the first subatomic particle. This particular subatomic particle contains consciousness, infinity, and a combination of light and dark energy, and this is the basis for this universe. This is what gives this universe evolutionary development, is an infinite structure, infinite energy, consciousness, which conceptualizes through evolution, and light and dark energy. The Higgs boson was brought into existence, and it was introduced, and so was time and evolutionary development for the universe. After this took place, infinite consciousness kept transferring consciousness and light energy frequency vibrations and dark energy frequency vibrations together, and more Higgs bosons were being introduced, and the Higgs field was forming. As this activity took place, what happened is light energy vibrations and dark energy frequency vibrations are different. They're polar opposites, and when they're combined with evolutionary activity, this can cause pressure to accumulate. What happened was pressure started accumulating in the mixture and in the formation. And with the pressure, the frequency vibrations started changing as a result of the pressure. The design concept kept going. Infinite consciousness kept designing the universe and introducing new concepts into the formation. And what happened is when the pressure started accumulating and the frequency vibrations were changing, this was introducing subatomic particles into the formation, protons, neutrons, electrons. And what I've discovered about these particular subatomic particles is protons represent evolutionary force, evolutionary development. Neutrons experience the evolutionary development for what it is, and electrons actually experience some resistance to evolution. With evolution and change occurring, what happens is there's a certain level of resistance that's produced from uncertainty as far as what the results are going to be. And So electrons experience some resistance, and this is what gives them the spin, the way that they spin within the atom. And also the cloud that's produced, the electron cloud, is actually pressure being released from the electron that it produces clouds because it produces pressure. Subatomic particles were being generated out of the frequency vibrations, and what happened was, as a result of the resistance level started getting very powerful in the formation of the universe. As the formation continued, what was contained in there was infinite consciousness and Higgs bosons, different subatomic particles, light energy, dark energy, different frequency vibrations. The formation was very powerful, and the consciousness that was being formed into this universe, actually there was aspects of this consciousness that were fighting the change. It was fighting the development, and the reason that it was producing resistance is this consciousness wanted to stay in its original state that it was originally in, with infinite consciousness. And so what happened is this resistance produced a very powerful energy, and as subatomic particles were being generated out of the frequencies, they were affected by this energy, which produced an opposite charge, and antimatter was brought into existence. So the formation contained infinite consciousness, light energy, dark energy, frequency vibrations, subatomic particles, and there were subatomic particles that represented antimatter. There was time, evolutionary development, and pressure. As the design process kept going, what happened was there was a point in the process where the design process reached a stage of completion as far as what the universe in its totality was going to be. When the design process reached a stage of completion, what happened is the pressure was released. A lot of pressure was released out of the formation. When the pressure was released, the subatomic particles, the matter and antimatter, collided when the pressure was released. It has been discovered recently that two bottom quarks can fuse together, produce a flash, and another subatomic particle called a nucleon is produced, and that can produce an explosion, or generate an explosion that's more powerful than atomic activity. And so what happened was everything came together. The matter and antimatter collided. This happened with subatomic particle activity, consciousness and energy, and the Big Bang happened, and the universe was introduced. One of the aspects of the Big Bang that's important is that because it deals with consciousness, is when everything came together in the moment and there was a change in the structure of evolutionary design because it was originally infinite consciousness, a certain part of this consciousness lost awareness, became completely unaware of itself for a moment before the change was experienced. And this is actually how death was introduced into existence, into the universe. The reason that I've discovered this is because planet Earth exists within the Milky Way galaxy that's 13.51 billion years old. And that consciousness and energy that's contained within the universe, that's associated with the Big Bang, has actually been evolving in the Milky Way galaxy, especially within Earth. And that's why life represents when the Higgs boson was introduced into existence, and death, it represents what happened when the Big Bang happened and everything came together and consciousness became unaware of itself for that particular moment before the evolutionary change was experienced. So the universe transferred out everywhere, and the Higgs field transferred out everywhere also. And what happened is infinity broke apart. Infinity and consciousness broke apart. And you've got a structure of the universe that exists within this large formation of infinite consciousness and pure light energy and pure dark energy. And what the Higgs field does is the Higgs field is like the DNA of the universe, and it absorbs infinite consciousness, pure light energy, and pure dark energy. And this is what the Higgs field is. It's a combination of infinity, consciousness, pure light energy, and pure dark energy. And what it does is it absorbs this through evolutionary activity. It generates frequency vibrations. there's different concentrations of time and space everywhere and different variables. And what happens is out of the frequency vibrations, subatomic particles are generated. Now what I've discovered is subatomic particles represent consciousness, different concentrations of light and dark energy and pressure, and evolutionary activity. They represent this, and this is what causes them to behave in certain ways. So the Higgs field transferred out everywhere and maintains, the evolutionary development is responsible for the way that matter and energy behave in the universe, and it's the most powerful concentration of universal consciousness and energy in the universe. The Higgs field is attached to planet Earth, and it's attached to all living organisms here. But the human race, life here, not just the human race, but I'll use the human race for an example, doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with the Higgs field, and the human body actually repels the Higgs field away from the human body. This is why people age so quickly and experience death, and I'll use this as an example, is the reason that the Higgs boson experienced decay with the Large Hadron Collider is particularly because of this location in existence. It's the most powerful location that a planet can be in a galaxy as old as the Milky Way is. When the Large Hadron Collider smashed the proton beams together and they discovered the Higgs boson, and then it decayed so quickly, is because I've discovered that planet Earth is an actual living organism with a consciousness and a very powerful level of energy. Dark and light energy are absorbed into planet Earth within a 24-hour rotation every day. And like I discussed previously with the Big Bang, is when different frequency vibrations come together with light and dark energy, and evolutionary design with space and time expanding and accelerating, it creates pressure. When a living organism is introduced into this environment, it absorbs and retains light and dark energy and evolutionary activity. This creates pressure within the body. This is why human beings in life here repel the Higgs field away from themselves. The Higgs field hasn't been detectable here by human beings, and is yet really to be discovered. It's in its early stages of discovery. But what happened is life and death are very, very powerful here as far as the level of energy contained within planet Earth. And so when they brought the Higgs boson into focus and it decayed so quickly, that has to do with the resistance to evolution. And if you think about it in reference to a human being, how old does a human being, an average lifespan here, last? When a human being is brought into existence, the average lifespan is what, 80 to 85 years? Compare that to the Higgs boson particle. The Higgs boson particle decayed like that. A human being that's brought into this environment has 80 to 85 years or so of a lifespan. So this is some of the things I've discovered with my work, and as far as on a molecular level, I've also discovered that non-coding DNA that is in place for living organisms here is actually part of the evolutionary design. Non-coding DNA was designed because the Higgs field is evolving here. When the Higgs field starts evolving in a much more powerful way, and this is what the shift in consciousness, or the paradigm shift, is going to be about. It's going to transfer more powerful energy in the living organisms here. And when that happens, living organisms had to be ready to absorb, retain, and distribute that energy. And that's going to be the foundation for the evolutionary design. And so that the subatomic activity from the Higgs field is going to transfer into life here, and it's going to transfer into non-coding DNA, and then activate DNA, and life is going to advance here. So these are some of the things that I'm working on with evolutionary cosmology right now. I've got 2 books out right now. My second book is Metaphysical Revelations, Information on the Dawning of a New Age, with Kahuna Research Group Publishing. It was just released November 11th. and it's available through Amazon. But I hope you guys are having a great time there, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share some of my work with you. Thank you.